Everyone is talking about this clip here where the president of France is quite visibly slapped in the face by his wife in what appears to be a heated argument on a plane caught on camera in Vietnam. Take a look at this. And there he turns and then realizes he's probably on camera and then waves as though nothing happened. Now, this just goes to show that there is always tension and there's always more going on behind the scenes than what you might see up front. But speaking of which, I have another outrageous story for you between France and the UK. If this doesn't epitomize everything that is wrong in the UK right now, I don't know what does. Get a load of this. France have seized a British fishing boat for quote-unquote payback for UK maritime fine. Allow me to explain before I lose the will to continue. So France have seized a British fishing boat in the English Channel, ostensibly, reportedly, as retaliation because a French boat has been fined £40,000 for breaking UK maritime rules. Apparently. I say apparently for legal reasons, you understand. Now, before we get too further ahead, please do hit that subscribe button. I really appreciate you doing so and putting up with me for asking every single day for 5 years now. Please do that. That helps the channel grow. Thank you so much. I don't know what to say here. This is absolutely ludicrous because all I can say is if said French fishing boat or whatever boat it was has been fined £40,000 for breaking UK maritime rules, then it's been fined £40,000 for breaking UK maritime rules, and that's the end of that. Surely. But no. The Lady T, based in Eastbourne, East Sussex, was intercepted by the Pluvier, a French Navy ship. They sent the Navy after this thing on Thursday for fishing for whelks without a licence, according to the Telegraph. I'll link this below. It could be confiscated and its owner could be fined £63,000 for non-authorised fishing in French waters by a non-EU boat. The chairman of the Regional Fishing Committee, Northern France, has suggested on Sunday that the boat had been seized as a tit-for-tat measure after the French captain, skipper, if you will, was fined in a landmark case last month. In that case, the skipper and owner of the French registered vessel was fined £40,000 in the Magistrates Court after being accused of bottom trawling in a prohibited area in the offshore Brighton Marine Conservation Zone. So why is this such a big deal? Well, if you've seen any of the news in the last week or so, you will have seen this, which is quoted as being a disastrous deal, even by the BBC, albeit they are quoting a fishing body, but described as a disastrous deal for Scotland, where Keir Starmer has agreed to a 12-year extension, which is several-fold longer than they originally sought to extend it by, to allow EU boats to access British waters in exchange for reduced checks and restrictions on food exports. Now, the reduced checks and the restrictions on food exports is, a good thing, whatever, but they've agreed to a 12-year fishing extension, which has been described as disastrous by the Scottish Fishermen's Federation. Now, of course, I talked about this in another video, and whilst this is not a massive part of our economy, it is a large chunk, the majority of the economy for certain areas and certain fishing villages. So on the one hand, this is sort of tearing down barriers and allowing them to export more, but at the same time as granting them 12-year extended access to British fishing. But that's not all. Let's just back up a minute. So they sent the Navy after this single vessel. The French sent the Navy after this vessel. Well, they could send the Navy, if they can send the Navy after a fishing vessel such as this, they could send the Navy after how many came in the last week or so, 13, 14, 15 boats that obviously left France's shores, headed for the UK and arrived successfully. This is not to detract from those that they do stop. There are what they call preventions. I don't have the statistics to hand. You can find them on this website. There are preventions. So they do whether it's by vessel or other means, they do prevent certain boats, these rubber dinghy things, from leaving French waters, but they don't stop all of them. They didn't stop this 15 carrying 825 plus 49 plus 44 people. They didn't stop those. They didn't send the Navy after those. They could have done, but they didn't. But as I said, the irony knows no bounds. The discussion on this online is somewhat amusing My own comment on that is that if this doesn't sum up very neatly everything that is wrong, then I'm not really sure what does. Now, I am, of course, obligated to tell you that if a fishing vessel is fishing in a manner other than in accordance with the rules and the regulations or in a place where it shouldn't be, then that is obviously wrong. But that doesn't prevent the criticism levied at Keir Starmer after he is accused of surrendering fishing rights in the UK for the next 12 years, particularly in the wake of situations like this. A spokesperson for France's maritime prefecture on Thursday said the French Navy's public service patrol vessel conducted a fishing inspection in the French exclusive economic zone off the Somme Bay, and during this operation, which was part of the state's maritime enforcement, a British fishing vessel was intercepted by sailors from the Navy patrol vessel whilst fishing without a licence in French waters. As the offence was proved, they say, the fishing vessel was diverted during the night of May the 23rd to the port Boulogne-sur-Mer, following the instruction of the delegate for the sea and the coastline. But that's not all. The spokesperson also said that the operation demonstrates the vigilance of state services in protecting fisheries resources and their determination to enforce regulations. Shame they don't enforce all the regulations and their arrangement with the UK with the millions of pounds that we spend to prevent the boats from leaving the shores coming for the UK, but by the by. But that's not all. The Francesca 280 as well as the Lady T was also apparently escorted to Brest. And the spokesperson said it sends a clear signal to those who might be tempted to fish illegally in French waters, so consider that signal sent. On Saturday, they say Lady T was moored behind the Bassin-Loubet fish market in Boulogne. Now, whilst I repeat the caveat that fishing in a place you're not supposed to fish or otherwise in accordance with the licence or the rules is obviously wrong, it does feel a little bit hypocritical when they do this apparently as a tit-for-tat retaliation when they don't take the same approach to stopping vessels leaving France for the UK. It's obviously attracted criticism. People here are saying they should be focused on trying to prevent the daily illegal incursions by migrants into the channel. And someone said the only actual enforcement work they're doing is targeting British fishermen, which I'm sure is not entirely true or fair, but you will be forgiven for thinking that this is a little bit hypocritical and that they should, if they're going to go after British vessels in this fashion, they should be stopping the rubber dinghies leaving France for the UK. And the final little gift I'll leave you with is this. I will link this article below. Please do go and have a read of it by Andrew Neil, who has covered politics for 55 years and recently wrote this headline. In 55 years of covering politics, he says, I've never accused a UK government of routinely telling untruths. But Starmer and co have taken lying and gaslighting to a deplorable level. And opens with that old quip, how can you tell when a politician's lying? Their lips are moving. It's a hoary old joke, but it can still be guaranteed to raise a rueful chuckle among British voters increasingly disillusioned with the political process. I always thought it a tad unfair. I'll link it below, but do go and have a look. But let me know in the comments below. Do you think this is the epitome of hypocrisy by the French to retaliate by seizing 2 British vessels because we find one of theirs, whilst at the same time they don't stop the dozens and dozens of boats that leave France for the UK, and we've given them another 12 years of unfettered access to British waters? Someone please make it make sense. And while you're at it, please like the video, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.